Thank you. I have no bev.
Oh, yeah, you want to go grab some bev real quick?
I have water right here.
That's a good bev. That's probably top-notch bev.
That's probably what we should be beveraging each episode.
Right.
I just my Coke addiction is getting out of hand, and
Coca-Cola, guys.
Coca-Cola. Yeah, if you're new here, oh yeah, this episode. Yeah, you're might be new here. Hopefully, you're new here. Not cocaine. Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Newfound addiction to Coca-Cola.
It's just so good. I really understand why it's been America's favorite drink, the world's favorite drink for decades now. I just hopped on the train. So thank you for having me. With a little squeeze of lemon. Yesterday I had one with a little bit of lime. That was really good, but it's just so bad.
Yeah. It's not a good habit to get into to take part in every day.
I crave it.
There's nothing wrong with a little weekend Coca-Cola.
Right. And like, I will never rob myself of that joy, but like, I just think about, and no shame if, and I'm not hating on anybody who might be one of these people, but the Diet Coke people,
right?
The Diet Coke community.
Yeah.
Y'all are having that like it's water. And like, I'm just going to say it, I don't like Diet Coke at all. I think Coke is way better than, I don't get the Diet Coke thing.
I can't remember the last time I've had Diet Coke actually.
Leanna likes it. So like, I'll always like
sip.
Right. I always like try again just to be like, maybe I like it now because I love normal Coke. And it just, it tastes like flat Coke to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get the hype. I don't know if it's like, cause it's like no sugar. So like you feel better about it, which I guess I get, but then you can also argue like aspartame is worse than normal sugar. I'm no nutritionist, but
we just know it's
drink
not
some
great.
water.
Not great
bottom
for you.
line, Coke, whatever type of Coke you're dealing with here, all encompassing word. You should probably still drink some water to detox your body a little bit from it.
Yeah, everyone just pick up a cute little glass of water for this episode.
And hydrate.
Hydrate.
You
Happy
guys.
Monday, guys.
Oh yeah, hi. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I didn't know I could feel like that.
We are feeling fucking cuckoo bananas today.
I'm actually losing my mind.
I'm losing it. There's a car outside of our apartment building right now since
8 a.m.
I was gonna say like 7.
I woke up at 8 and it was immediately. So
I think I woke up at like 7:15 and it was like it was going when I was awake. So around there.
Okay, and it's currently 2 p.m.
Car alarm has been going nonstop. Cops have come. They have broken into the car to try and turn it off.
It's like a brand new BMW too. It's not just like someone left their car.
No.
It's a brand new BMW.
I looked at the license plate.
Oh, you did? Did you get their name?
No, I would have had to pay $20.
They're on the business card.
I know, I like almost did. I was like, it's a write-off. We're going to talk about it on the podcast. But I was like, that is a breach of security, if you will. I'm not going to do that. But it's had 2 owners. It's it has over 43,000 miles on it. And it is a 2020 X2. I think it said it was.
My thought is,
BMW.
okay, we have their name. We know that they probably work around here. We're next to a lot of offices. So they probably just can't hear it because their building is probably a little too far. But we could hear it perfectly clear all day long.
They probably like, oh, got a good parking spot. And then like walked a few blocks to work. So they have no idea.
Right. Right.
In my head, and I feel like we could speak on this, we were drivers at one point in our lives. If I hear a car alarm and I know I'm parked around where I'm at hearing the alarm, I'm going to wait, could that be my car alarm? And I'm going to go check. So either they're totally rude and just not even considering that could be their car, or they're nowhere to be found.
I think they're just too far to even hear it, to be honest. My first inkling is to message them on Facebook and tell them. I wanted to leave a note. I left the house today because I actually could, like, it was driving me nuts earlier. And I walked and got food and I walked by the car, and that's when I had noticed there were cops. There were literally 5 cops. They had the hood popped. They were in and out of the doors. I don't know how they got into it.
It's like that little thing they like stick down the window, I think, right?
Oh, maybe.
I know like cops have like a actual tool where they're allowed to break into cars.
Right. And I called Kristen and I was like, look, there's cops at the car. And I walked by and I was like, okay, should I leave a note? Like these people need to know that they have ruined
the rue of the day.
It's so bad. It's driving me crazy, you guys.
It's actually nice right now podcasting because I can't hear it with these headphones on and we're like talking to each other. So this is a nice little escape. So thank you for being here.
What's crazy though is I can still hear it in my head.
I can imagine it.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're hearing it literally.
No, but I hear it in my head.
Yes.
It's rough out here, guys.
It's so annoying. Today's kind of a weird day. Alex and I both woke up obviously immediately irritated by it. We both woke up with a headache. I had weird ass dreams. I had sleep paralysis. I had the worst night sweats I think I've ever had in my life, to be completely honest with you.
It's been so humid here this past week. We're finally getting some heat. I think it's going to be in it was almost 90 degrees yesterday.
So nice.
I know. It was so nice. And we have 70s all week, but the heat it feels different. I remember last season when we started to get heat, it was nice. It was very cool and breezy, and it felt like more of a ramp up to this weather.
Yeah.
But this feels like a stagnant heat, and it's just sticky and sitting.
Yeah, it's happening.
Gross.
Yeah, it's some pretty wicked dreams too. So that always just kind of fucks up my sleep. My sister had weird dreams, and then recently we discovered that my uncle, I didn't tell you this, my uncle Jason has really weird dreams too. And I don't know if he's necessarily had them all of his life, but he connected with Monica about it recently. So now that we're all on the same page of weird dreams, we started a group chat and he said he's had such a weird dream last night too.
Oh, really?
And the night before. So
something's in the air.
Something is in the air. I don't know what it is. I have talked about it here on the podcast before. The dreams where someone's pushing their thumb or one of their fingers into my back. I had that same dream again that I haven't had honestly for months. And I don't know what it is. I want to know what it means, but I'm also not really going to lean into that because I don't think it's a literal something's wrong with my back. I don't know. I have no idea what it could be.
Yeah, maybe it's just one of those things that it isn't anything,
It's just it's so painful. It's so excruciatingly, it wakes me up because I actually have to shake myself out of my dream because I'm I can't escape it. I run from the person and they run at the same pace as me and they just keep
more frustrating than anything.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know.
That's weird. That's a weird one.
So for today's episode, full transparency, we were inspired by Stassi Schroeder. She has a podcast and I saw that she did an episode titled Reintroducing Myself or something like that. And I thought it was just such a good
Smart.
idea.
And she had just started with Dear Media at pretty much the same time as us, right? A week or two before. When you had first told me that Stassi had this episode, an introduction episode, I thought you were talking about literally
up until right now.
Right now, actually this morning when you texted me about it, I had thought you were talking about Stassi Baby.
Does she have a podcast?
I don't know.
Oh well, no.
I don't know. I figured
totally different.
My
Stassies.
head, right? Totally different Stassies. But my head went to Stassi Baby, and even in my head, I was like, oh, I guess she started a new podcast, and that's why she did an introduction. Right. But I guess it's not.
Stassi Schroeder.
Stassi Schroeder.
From Vanderpump. Hey, girl, if you're watching,
hey,
love you.
Dear Media sister.
Yeah, maybe we'll meet you one day and go get martinis or something.
Go get goat cheese balls.
You make those look so fucking good when you talk about them. So
think about them so often. I want to. Maybe I'll have you get some and then
freeze dry them, bring them home.
Yeah,
I could. Well, actually, no, I leave the bay. Never mind. Yeah, but it was such a good idea. So we kind of wanted to do that. I feel like we, you longtime listeners know, the way we talk with you guys is we've known you forever because you have so much context of you day one listeners. You literally know everything, but we don't want to exclude the also very important new listeners that we might have from whether it was Dear Media or, this episode right now. So we want to give a little intro and this morning for just some reminiscing of where we started, I listened to the first. Did you give it a listen?
I started to listen to it.
The first episode of season 1, the condom broke.
I almost got like, I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but like secondhand embarrassment.
Oh, me too. Absolutely,
I was like,
me too.
what do these girls know?
Like, shut up.
Nothing.
Shut up, girls.
You guys know nothing. And it's so funny because we introed that episode with obviously like what the podcast is, but it's still the same thing. Did you notice this? Like when anyone asks what we do or like what our podcast is about, we kind of say the same thing to people, especially if we like don't really know them. And it's literally like that bit that we say.
I noticed that too. I was like, oh wow, the brand is not strayed from from what it was, which is good.
Yeah.
Go us.
We're consistent.
We're so consistent.
That's the goal here, right? But it's literally like the way we phrase, oh yeah, and we talk about this and we help people with this. And this is why we want to give advice. It's literally like what we say episode 1.
You know,
which is so funny.
I thought that was funny too. And we say we've been best friends for
15 years,
and now I'm like,
now it's 20.
That's crazy. That's actually
so
crazy that we said that, because I remember when I listened to it, I was like, oh, we said it wrong. Like the split second I thought we made an error, and I was like, oh wait, no,
time passed.
That's how that works.
It's been 4 or 5 years.
That's fucking crazy.
That's so nuts. Yeah, it was nuts listening to that first episode. And if I always wonder if people find us, because I always do things differently when I find a new podcast. Do you go back and listen to the first episode and start from there and then move on, or do you start like in real time?
Right.
I always wonder how people listen when they find us for the first time. So let me know if you guys just recently found us. Did you go back and listen to old episodes?
It's a lot of listening.
It's a lot of listening, and it's, I don't want to say irrelevant, because everything we've talked about since 2020, it's still things that people could benefit from.
Of course.
But our lives contextually are so different.
Could not be any different.
Could not be any more different.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, I had that thought too. And knowing that, like, I guess it depends on the podcast, because like something like My Favorite Murder, you can listen to one-off episodes because they're story-based, or, you know, any type of story-based podcast. But that's kind of why, like, when we do refer to ongoing topics, we always give like, well, if you don't know, it's pretty much this. We always try to like give a little bit of a brief, so if you don't have day one context. But yeah, it was crazy to listen to, especially right when I woke up. That was like the first thing I took in.
It's a lot.
And I feel like I've just been kind of like confused all day. But I noticed how much, I mean, obviously, but how much we spoke about COVID.
Oh,
like that. Like
I didn't get far in.
We did our song of the day, and I was like,
okay.
Did you hear what my song of the day was?
Yeah,
it was so
Purple Hat.
Yes, by Sophie Tucker. I was like, have you guys heard this song?
Right.
Like, it just dropped then.
And we were talking about how like we just want to see live music and like those little tidbits. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. We did start August. We probably recorded that July 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. I also came across an old picture of us recording in my old apartment.
That's
just
crazy.
Audio. I mean, as you guys may or may not know, season 1 is audio only. So that's even kind of weirder for me when I'm listening to it. I feel like our voices were even different, because when it was just audio and we were new at it, we like didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
Whereas like visual now, like
we interact with the camera.
Right. And you can hear it.
Totally.
It's so different.
You could tell we're like talking to each other.
Yes.
Whereas here it's almost like that third party conversation that we're having, because the camera is obviously all of you guys.
Right.
But we didn't have that aspect when we were just facing each other on your living room floor.
Oh my God.
It's
nuts. So cool.
So nuts.
Well, anyway, should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Where
do we start?
I wish I like wore something a little cuter. I'm gonna go work out after this, so this is all you're getting. But
it's okay. Go look at like when we're all done up.
Yeah, go look at like your Instagrams or something. I don't know. I feel like we look better there.
Hi guys. This is Oddvice, and I'm Alex Coate.
I'm Kristen McAtee, and as of now, we have been friends for 20 years, which is longer than 15.
And it's longer than probably some of you. It's more years than some of you have been alive. Which is crazy.
We have a baby. Our friendship is a baby. An adult.
In college.
They can't
They can't get a drink.
Almost.
But they could vote.
Yeah, that too. They could buy cigarettes. Wait, not anymore. That's 21 now.
That's really?
I think so, right?
I don't know.
Tobacco products?
I don't know. I'm older than that, so I can do anything I want.
Haha. Losers, nerds. Yeah, we started this podcast in 2020 in the midst of quarantine when everybody else was equally as bored as fuck. And I came to Alex one day and was like, hey, I want to start a podcast, but I don't want to talk to myself. Would you want to start a podcast with me? And she was like, sure.
Yeah, of course. I actually remember I was sitting on my bed and you walked in.
I leaned on your doorway.
Yeah, you're like, you want to start a podcast? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Like what exactly? I don't know. We'll just like talk. You were like, okay, we could try it out. Yeah. And we did like a trial episode.
Did we?
Yeah, we still have the audio. It's one of the cards in my like card thing holder. I never delete it because it's our first audio.
Wait a minute.
So the world has never seen it.
Is it not I've never seen it.
No.
Is it not the virgin? Like, what do we talk about?
We're just like
practicing.
Yeah, like we're
have to, you know what? Hey, little plug here. We're putting this on Patreon.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. That's cute. Yeah, we'll do that.
We're going to upload this to Patreon.
From what I remember, I haven't like listened to it in a minute, but I remember it being like very awkward and just like,
it's probably so funny.
Hey. We just like didn't
what
know
does
what
the
to
mic
say.
sound like?
And at that time, like it was so new to you to even like speak to an audience. Yeah. And like I remember like that being a thing.
Yeah.
Too, but hey, you did it.
I did it. Sometimes I still feel like I'm just talking to you.
Well, you are.
Yeah. But also with millions of other ears.
Millions of people.
When we first announced Dear Media, we got a comment on one of our like release videos or whatever, and it said, oh great, another podcast that's gonna last just a week. I almost responded, hey fucker, we've been around for 4 years, so go give us a listen.
Another podcast, like, ouch.
Haters.
Also, what if we were just another podcast that wanted to be like,
right,
everybody could start a podcast, so if you're just jealous. Whatever. Yeah, so we started this podcast knowing damn well we have different perspectives about things, and I don't know, it was just like, I feel like every friendship feels this to a degree that like, oh my God, our life is a movie and like there's so much we can share, and did it like you even see that like on TikTok all the time, people saying like, oh my God, my friend and I like need a show, and like we were just one of the friendships that ran with it and wanted to start something. So yeah, we come from very different backgrounds, and we've noticed throughout the years like that has helped a lot of different people, and like naturally we'll even see comments of people being like, I totally like, I'm Alex or I'm Kristen. So if you ever feel that, let us know, whoever, like, choose your character, I guess.
That's another thing too. Like we have very different upbringings, and we're very, I think in a lot of ways we're so polar opposite, and we'll get into those details soon, but in a lot of ways like we are identical. And we've actually a couple of weeks ago we just met a new friend, and
we met a friend
and he was over here, and he was like, are you guys always this like in sync?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And we were like, yes,
yeah, we are.
Always.
Actually, that's crazy. That's that.
We could have a conversation without even saying words.
And it's always been that way.
It's always been that way. Mm-hmm. But we still, what I love is we still maintain our differences. And I think that's why we get to talk to you guys every week, and we share a lot of the things that we are still going through, but with such different perspectives and different levels of input, and we approach things so differently a lot of the time, and it's just really cool to see. I think a lot of people see that too, like you said, like
it's like a well-rounded perspective. You'll get a little bit of everything. You'll get tough love. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. Even like our so like Alex said, we have a Patreon, and every Friday is our follow-up episode to each Monday episode, and it's usually a Oddvice column, and people will even say like at the end, don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what I need to hear, and like we will. And we
will do both. Like if you want us to justify you in something that you're doing, we'll do that
too. Because that's what we do with each other. It's like,
do you want me to convince you to buy the shirt, or do you want me to convince you to not buy the shirt? Because we could do both, and we could
shape shift.
Yeah, we could shape shift, but like full-heartedly.
Yes.
And we can convince you to do one or the other.
We could see both sides. Is that bad now that I'm hearing that?
Yeah, convince was the wrong word.
That feels like manipulative.
Yeah.
We could see both sides.
We see both sides of it.
Today's episode is sponsored by Zocdoc. Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. Zocdoc has been such a big help moving to a new city and just finding all your new doctors for all your needs. You just plug in your insurance and it shows you rated and reviewed doctors in your area.
What I love about Zocdoc is their little checklist of all of the things that you need to keep up on, like your 6-month dental appointment and your gyno appointment, your yearly eye checkup. And it really holds you accountable for everything that you need to get done. And it'll send you a notification, hey, book this appointment.
I actually just got mine.
Oh, you did?
Like I thought that was funny because we're just about to talk about Zocdoc today. I got it for my skin, so I need to go get my moles checked. And honestly, I would have probably let that slip for another 2 years if I didn't get the notification.
You just like forget about stuff like that. But that's why Zocdoc is great, because they'll send you that friendly little reminder. Everything is through the app. So even if you book an appointment and you need to reschedule and rebook, you don't have to call the doctor's office.
I just hate doing that. And it's like, yeah, I might forget, but I feel like I almost subconsciously forget on purpose because I just don't want to call an office. It's our generation. I want to do things through the phone.
Exactly. And you could just go on the app, say, hey, sorry, I can't make this appointment. You reschedule and they'll send you a new date.
The typical wait time to see a doctor booked on Zocdoc is between just 24 to 72 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments.
Again, Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online.
If you guys want to check them out, go to Zocdoc.com/Oddvice and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today.
That's Zocdoc.com/Oddvice. Zocdoc.com/Oddvice.
Thanks, Zocdoc.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. Give me like a little dating profile.
Let's see. My name is Kristen McAtee. I'm 29 years old. I was born March 28th, 1995. I grew up in the Bay Area. Alex and I grew up together. I guess that was to be
20 years. Long distance friends.
Long distance friends. We've been pen pals for 20 years.
Oh, that's always been my dream to have a pen pal.
Me too. I'm an Aries sun, Pisces moon. And even if you're someone who's not into astrology, let me break it down a little bit because I am through and through like those two things. I literally even have it tattooed on my neck, strategically impulsive. I'm a walking contradiction. I'm very blunt, confrontational, and like I take things head on. That's definitely like the Aries side of me. But I'm also so emotional. Like more and more every single day emotional, and I'm like trying to figure it out emotional. But I think like the Aries in me helps like slap, get it together. Like I feel like that's like
you definitely have that aspect.
Yes, like I'll fall into like this big emotional and then I'm able to kind of intellectualize myself out of it, which is also something that I'm working on because it's not that good of a thing. Let's do some credibility here. I've been in therapy for almost 5 years now. I do EMDR therapy. I should know what the acronym stands for. It's like
electrical magnetic currents.
That's pretty much what's happening. She's not far off. I can't remember what EMDR stands for, but it's like tapping and eye movements and bilateral stimulation. It's very sciencey. Look it up, do your own research. But I feel like I've just learned so much over those 5 years, almost 5 years. And as you listen to Oddvice, you will hear Alex and I preach more and more every day how important it is to go to therapy. We're not going to be the ones to like shove it down your throat though, because we're also two products of knowing we've always needed it, but going into it at our own pace. And I think that's like, that's all you need to be doing.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, because maybe that's also the Aries in me. The second someone tells me I need to do something, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Just because you told me I have to do it now, like I'm not doing it. Yeah, I think that's the gist.
The rundown.
I don't know. It's hard to talk about myself.
Yeah.
We should have done this for each other.
Yeah.
That would have been smarter.
That would have been smart.
We'll do yours and then we'll go back and give each other's perspectives.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Alex Coate, and I was born on September 8th, 1995, which makes me 28 years old. And baby, I was also born and raised in the Bay Area. I am a Virgo through and through. I'm a Virgo sun, Pisces moon as well, and a Capricorn rising. I feel like the Virgo in me is pretty much all of me. I am the most overthinking, analytical, logical person, organized person that you will probably come across. I am a graphic designer, so I'm a creative at heart, but this is like a big part of me as well. While I am very, very logical, I knew since probably like late middle school, early high school that I did have a creative side, but I never really like practiced that or massaged that side of me, exercised that side of me. And I knew that I wanted to get into some sort of a creative field. And that's how I found graphic design, where you could be so detailed and logical and make things, it's like formulated, but with a creative outlet. And I feel like me being a graphic designer is quite literally the perfect job for me because it exercises both parts of my brain. And what else?
How do you problem solve? Like, what do you like in confrontation? What do you like in...
I am the least confrontational person, but like Kristen, I am so emotional and I'm so extremely sensitive, and I'm just like a big baby a lot of the time. While I'm not confrontational, these past few years, I have also been in therapy. I am not currently in therapy, but I did about 1.5 years of therapy. And that has taught me to stand my ground in more ways than I had given myself the ability to, because I'm not confrontational, but I am so extremely sensitive. So things would hurt me a lot, but I wouldn't know how to like address issues like that. Now I feel like I've gotten more comfortable expressing my emotions, which is something I'm working on every day. So that's a big part of it.
It just comes with age too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got your Aries and your Virgo, and we both have so many like synchronicities in our lives too. My sister is a Virgo through and through too.
Mm-hmm. Her middle name's Renee.
Oh yeah, God, I always forget about that too. Alex's mom is an Aries, so like I relate to your mom a lot.
Yep.
A lot of other weird things. Her brother's birthday is my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
The last 4 digits of your home phone number are the last 4 digits of not only my grandparents' home phone number, but my mom's social security number.
Right.
Which is super weird.
Are we allowed to say that?
No, let's not say that. No.
No, not the numbers.
Oh.
But like, okay, yeah, I guess no one's going to know the numbers. Never mind.
Yeah, that's fine. Right? Please don't do anything with that information. Yeah, honestly, side note, like when I was thinking about us doing this episode, I'm like, I almost feel like we're giving like
details.
All the like, what's the name of your kindergarten teachers or whatever, the like security questions on like your credit card.
All the details on one episode.
Well, none of these are those answers, so
don't even think about it.
But yeah, there's been so many kind of synchronicities throughout our life. And
me, you, Leanna, and Bree, we all have the same freckle on our butt.
Yeah, we discovered that one at like probably like age 10.
Yeah.
I remember just, oh my God.
We're meant to be.
But like, how else do you explain that? Right. Do you and your friends have matching freckle butt tattoos?
Butt freckles?
Or tattoos, what?
And there's one other thing, Vince and Monica, a similarity there.
I mean, they're very similar, just like in general, I feel like.
Yeah. Is that what I'm thinking about? They're pretty much the same person.
Yeah. Like we have the same siblings, just different genders. But yeah, going back into kind of the timeline of Oddvice, we're currently in New York City now. We've lived here for it'll be 2 years in June. Let's rewind a little bit. So like we said, we grew up in the Bay Area, and in 2015, it was September of 2015, I moved to LA. I moved to downtown LA in this shitty little apartment, split a room with somebody, just like did the whole thing. I was 19, 20. 19 or 20?
19.
I think I might have been 20.
Yeah, it was 20.
Yeah, I was 20 and a half because September's my half birthday. And just, do you guys not know your half birthdays? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I moved there and so now I currently do social media full time, but before I had went to school, Alex and I went to the same college. We went to FITM, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And once I graduated from there, I finished some schooling in LA. Then I went and I worked in kind of like the corporate retail world for a few years up until I do what I do now. So yeah, I lived there. I didn't move with any friends. It was treacherous. I was very alone for a long time. And then fast forward to
2019, January of 2019 is when I moved to LA. Back when Kristen had moved in 2015, I was staying in the Bay to finish out my bachelor's degree. And I had just gotten into I feel like that was my big adult relationship, my first adult relationship. I had gotten with someone when I was 19 and we ended up breaking up. And literally 2 weeks after the breakup in 2019 is when I called Kristen and I was like, hey, I think I'm just going to move to LA.
Oh, it's the best call ever. That's all I ever wanted.
I was like, get me the hell out of here. So it took me 4 years and a pretty rough breakup and a lot of growing up for me to just bite the bullet and go down to LA. I needed a fresh start. And at the time, Kristen was also in a big relationship and her boyfriend had started a new company and he needed a graphic designer. So it was perfect. I went down there. I worked for him. It was like the perfect little scenario where I could move to LA. I had just graduated, so I had fresh with a bachelor's degree looking for a graphic design job. And he said he needed a graphic designer. And I was like, perfect. I can come down there. I can get my own cute little apartment in the heart of Hollywood. I loved that apartment.
Like literally right off Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, it was so cute. It was right there on Cherokee. If you don't know Hollywood Boulevard, it's literally like in the heart of Hollywood. So
Hollywood and Highland.
Yep.
It's like right there.
Right there. And I had a trillion cockroaches everywhere all the time. They were doing construction
all the time.
All the time.
Like I would get a call the second you got home from work and you're like, you gotta come over. Like
it was just so bad. It was a really cute apartment, but they were doing construction on the apartment and they had the whole side of my building like completely blocked off and I got no sunlight. So it was a cute apartment, but I ended up hating it. So 2020 is when Leanna ended up moving down to LA and we all got an apartment together. So it was nice. It all worked out.
So Alex and Leanna got an apartment with another third roommate, Macy, one of our friends, and all at the same time. So that was, you guys signed a lease January 2020, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when Leanna moved. So the three of them
January 19th, I think.
19th. There you go.
Yeah.
They moved in January 26th. So that's not even a week later. My boyfriend and I broke up. And I was like, fuck. Like, I have nowhere to live. I would have been that third roommate.
Yep.
The universe works in very intentional ways. And she was like, no, you need to be alone. So I obviously, like, long story short, moved out of the house I was in with my boyfriend, went and got my own apartment, like down the street from the apartment that Alex and Leanna and Macy had just got. And you'll hear us referring to that apartment as Auckland because that's the street it was on. But yeah, so that was like also the start of quarantine too. I mean, you know, give or take a month later, it was just a lot of like riding, I almost said a city bike, like a Lime scooter back and forth between their apartment.
I forgot it was scooters in LA and not bikes.
Not city bikes, right. 2020 then was like, I mean, for all of us, it was the craziest year for so many different reasons. But I guess that year for me was like going through the like number one hardest breakup ever that I've had, even considering my last one. That one was just harder, I guess, in different ways because we were together for so long. So like integrated into each other's lives. I hit like a very, very bad depression. And I feel like that time in my life completely like rebirthed me into who I am today. I feel like a completely different person than who I was, but like in the best way possible. Yeah. So that was kind of the beginning of 2020. And then I think it was November. It was November 1st. It was right after Halloween. Macy, their third roommate, had moved out and to, I think go like move in with her mom or something. So I literally broke my lease. I told my apartment, like, take my money. I'm going to go live with my best friends. Because also that apartment I moved in alone had black mold.
And it was bad.
It was so bad. That's probably a big reason I got so depressed. I know that's very much like a symptom of mold poisoning, my skin. It was just this whole thing. So then I moved into, like we said, we call it Auckland. And
that was just 20.
It was just
a time. I feel like 2020 really catapulted us into, like you said earlier, the lives that we have now.
Completely.
It's so weird to think about, but we were literally 24 years old. We were babies.
We're still not 24. What do you mean?
Right. We were 24 years old, and we were at a time where we were living in a house with our best friends, had gone through such crazy breakups. And we talk about this a lot. If you're new here, like, please go listen to our breakup episode. But we talk about how breakups, you need them. Mm-hmm. There's something that you need to go through, especially at that age, that'll catapult you into finding your independence, finding who you are, growing in so many different ways, learning how to heal. There's just so many honestly benefits of going through crazy breakups. And the fact that we were both doing that, and on top of it, we had started something that we thought was just going to be a passion, but now it's turned fully into our careers.
Yeah.
It was such a year. It was such a year for us.
Truly, like, so many highs and lows. Like, that same year, I also lost my grandma, and that was another episode I like halfway listened to this morning, was our grief episode. Which, I'm sure if you're a returning listener, you've heard it, but if not, it's definitely a good one to listen to. I know grief can be a hard thing to talk about, but I think the reason we love that episode so much is because we really shed a lot of light and, I guess, like, realistic expectation on the process of grief. It looks different for everybody and so on. You can go listen to that for kind of the lowdown on that. But yeah, that whole year was like so polarizing. Mm-hmm. And I truly see it as, like, I don't know, just the biggest turning point. We lived in this house, or it was like a townhouse, and it was like a little commune of, like, with our neighbor at the time. And
yeah,
like,
it
turned into like a summer camp.
It was 2 different condos, and they surrounded like a courtyard that only the people in the condos obviously had access to.
Right.
But during COVID, we brought an indoor couch out there.
Yes.
We
like a velvet indoor couch.
Yes. A normal human couch outside. Ugh. And our neighbor at the time was a rapper, so he had like hella music equipment that he would just bring outside, big ass speakers, and we would just be bumping music, laying outside. We had a hammock out there. It was just a vibe.
Time didn't exist.
No,
because it's like, it was so fun and freeing because we didn't have anything to do and we couldn't leave the house.
Right.
I'm also processing some of the hardest emotions till this day that I've processed. It was so healing in so many ways, but also like the scariest time.
It just like forced you to face what was going on inside your head and in your heart and all the emotions that you were feeling. Like,
it was wild.
I feel like to go through a breakup and a move and pivoting your career all at the same time would look so drastically different if you were still living your normal life on top of it, going out, being social,
right?
Just living life as you did. But since you did that during 2020, it just looks so different. Like you do it so independently at that point,
right? Like forced isolation.
Yeah.
But with that does come some pretty good growth. So we were there for 2 years, right?
2 years,
maybe a little over 2 years, because did we go month to month at one point?
Yeah, we lived there from January 2020 to June of 2022.
Yep.
So about 2.5 years. And Kristen had went on this solo trip to New York in October of 2021. And she came back and was like, I love New York. I think I want to move there. And I looked at her and I was like, I'm coming. Like
you were already over LA.
I was so over LA. I don't know. There was something about LA that just didn't click for me. I think also because I was being not pulled, but I loved my life going to work at headquarters for this company that I still work for. But then in 2020, for that to be shut down and having to work from home, I felt such a disconnect with like the life that I had started at that job, like the work culture of going in. I was meeting new friends with my coworkers and we were going to like happy hour after work. But then for that to stop literally a couple months later, it was really hard for me, and kind of just I felt so stagnant in LA. And I looked at Kristen and I was like, look, nothing's tying me here. I don't see myself just staying in LA. My job is now fully remote. There's no reason why I can't try something new. So we were like, yeah, let's go.
It was the quickest turnaround you'd ever seen.
It was the quickest turnaround. But then 2022 was probably the worst fucking year of my life.
It was bad.
We did the move in June, and March, April, May, June, just 4 months prior, I had lost my grandma. And then within that following 4 months, I had lost 2 other grandparents. So I was going through such a heavy time of grief and loss, obviously, because I lost those 3 grandparents, but I felt like I lost so much moving out here. I felt like I was isolating myself even more from what I like had known and loved at that time. And I came out here, and my first year here, I really hated it. Yeah. I really hated New York, but I told myself I would stick it out. At the time you were pretty much in a relationship, and I just knew I hadn't given it the chance to. You had plans to move back, and there was a part of me that I was like, I hated it so much out here that I was like, okay, if she's moving back, I'm going to her, yeah. There's nothing out here for me. I also knew at the time that I was so blinded by everything that I had gone through in 2022 that I hadn't given New York a proper chance.
You could have gone through that in any geographical location and hated that location for it.
Yeah.
When that wasn't the problem.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously glad I stuck it out. It was just such a...
How could you not feel that?
Right.
That's so valid.
Yeah.
That's so valid.
2022 was a big, big turning point for me.
It was hard when we first moved here. It was exciting in theory. And it was exciting, period. But like, before we moved, it was this like really exciting thing. We had like a going away party. It was this like...
It felt just so
purely positive.
Easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And the move itself was relatively smooth. Like our moving truck was like projected to not get here 2 weeks after we got here, but it ended up getting here the next day. Like it was smooth. All things considered, the physical move was smooth, but it was like, okay, shit. We just like picked up everything, me, Alex, and my dog Link, and completely ran from everything we've ever known. Like California, born and raised, like that weather's all we've known. Those people are all we known. It like, even your restaurant chains are all you know. Like you don't really realize how comfortable you are in your environment until you are in a polar opposite environment. Like leave it, yes, but like the East Coast, West Coast, like if you know, like they are so different. Almost everything about it. So yeah, it was this like, oh shit, like we really did it. And obviously, like you just kind of learn to swim, and I feel like the biggest kind of turning point of getting comfortable was just getting our apartment together, and then picking back up season 3 was season 3, right? Was that?
Yeah. On the couch.
Yep. Season 3 kind of helped us like get back into like routine, and that like, if you remember the old set too on our couch, like it was home again. So I feel like that was kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, now we're here. We've been here, like I said, it'll be 2 years in June, and no plans to leave. My plan to leave was for a relationship I was in that I'm no longer in, thank God, and not leaving anytime soon. But we definitely want to explore like more of the city, get out of where we're at now, possibly get out of Manhattan in general, maybe go see like Brooklyn and whatnot. And by see, I mean go live there. But yeah, we're East Coast girlies now. So that's another kind of cool perspective we have is like East Coast, West Coast mentalities are so polarizing. And I feel like that's something we, you know, they say you're not like a resident of somewhere until you live there for 10 years, but 2 years is more than 0. And I feel like we're more and more every day kind of adapting to the East Coast mentality and integrating it into our own lives and into what we talk about here.
I feel like sitting here and trying to map out an introduction of ourselves it's one thing, but I feel like if you guys continue to listen, I hope you do, you will really see our personalities, especially like next to each other. We obviously love to give you guys both perspectives and both of our perspectives and anything that we give you advice on ever. But our personalities really shine when we just like sit here and talk to each other. And that's just something that you guys will eventually see. And I'm sure people who have been listening since the jump are like, they're probably thinking to themselves, shut up. Well, they're probably thinking to themselves like, you guys didn't say this, or you guys didn't say this, or you guys should talk about this.
Try talking about yourself in this context. I thought this episode would be way easier.
Yeah, me too. But
it's kind of hard.
It is hard to talk about yourself. And like, I don't know what to inform you guys of, but that's why I feel like that's why I'm saying you guys will learn so much about us just seeing our personalities like really come through in these episodes. I almost wish like you guys wrote this episode and
maybe we should ask that.
Hey, what do you guys think about us?
Script for our next episode. That's a good point though. Yeah, you just got to be there kind of thing. I feel like we should say some of our favorite episodes, like leave people to go like listen. If you're not going to go listen, obviously, to like the whole every season ever, that's why we're doing this episode. Let's maybe give some like favorites.
My favorite till this day, and it has always been my favorite, is it's from season 2 and it's called What's Going On Inside Your Head.
Oh yeah.
And it's
such a good episode.
It was such a turning point for like me personally. And it's something that I still think about very fucking often. Yeah. But we talk about like how our trains of thought work and how they're so different. And I feel like that could have just been this whole episode because
we should have re-uploaded it.
Because they are so different. And I have one single train of thought and my brain works so specifically independent, if you will.
You hyper focus.
I hyper focus on things, and that was a self-realization as we were sitting down recording that episode. So like you see me
see it click.
You see it click in my head where I literally figure out one of the biggest characteristics about myself, and it is now shaped fully like everything I do and who I am to its core. And it's just my favorite episode. So I highly suggest you go listen to it.
That's a really good episode. My brain works completely opposite. Like she said, it's think about ballroom chatter when you walk into like a conference. That's what my brain sounds like. And I'm not exaggerating. So go get more context. It'll make a lot of sense. It's a really good episode. Don't we do like some type of quiz in it?
We do. We talk about synesthesia.
That's it. Yeah, but something like sciencey. I know we touch on.
Yeah.
So another good one is our Myers-Briggs. If you also want kind of like another deep dive into our personalities, I almost feel like every kind of lifestyle podcast should do those. So you know if you should even listen to this podcast,
right? Like to know if you're like compatible with the people with their brains.
Yeah, that just clicked in my head. I already mentioned the grief episode. That is one of my favorite. That was a big turning point for me. You guys, longtime listeners, you know, like this podcast in general is just such a big part of our mental developing. So you see things, you see us work out and talk out a lot of things as it's happening. So yeah, the grief one, that was a big one for me. I obviously love the breakup episode, another very big one to talk about.
We get told a lot that the stalker episode that we did was
that's just
really
a crazy
good.
Fucking story.
It's a crazy story.
Get a snack, get some drink.
I think we talked about, oh no, because it was visual. So that was season 2 as well.
I think it's just called My Stalkers, My Creepy Stalker, or
My Stalker Story, something
Type in
like
stalker.
that.
I think that's the only time we've used it in a headline.
Yeah, probably. My Stalker Story. It's fucking crazy.
Our creepy Airbnb was a good one too.
Yeah.
All of our truth or drinks are obviously you're going to get some sort of
intel.
Yeah, intel about us.
I also love our general advice episodes because they do have like little tidbits of every topic under the sun, obviously, because it's general advice. And you get to see kind of how we give you guys advice and how our brains work when it comes to every topic under the sun.
Yeah. Another favorite, it's actually from this season. It's episode 17. It's the 13 feminine seduction archetypes. It's another quiz we took. It's also linked in there if you want to take that quiz. That one was really good. That one definitely like kind of made me spiral in a very uncomfortable way, which you get to see just live. And I mean, full transparency, I think I talk about it the next episode after that. Like that, even that week, I was like, fuck, like what's like I don't know. It made me spiral a lot, but
that was a really
spiraling
good one.
Is kind of a good thing sometimes.
Yeah. I was going to say, you see a lot of those light bulbs go off in our head in almost every episode, to be honest.
Yeah. Not even this one, like realizing how fucking hard it is to talk about yourself.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I could talk about myself in like a professional way. 'Cause like you can make all the bells and whistles to make it
to resume.
Sell yourself. Right. But like
personally,
I don't
know.
It
is. That's why I mentioned the dating profile earlier on in this episode. Like it's like a first date. Like what would you say if someone's asking about like, how'd you grow up? Or what do you do when you think of this? Or like, you know, your little tidbits.
That's something that's so hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much do I share?
Right.
But then in this, I'm like, oh, well, I need to share a lot.
Overshare.
I need to overshare here. But then, yeah, in a first date, I'm like, I even feel like I'd say that, like, how much time you got? Like, how deep do you want to go with this?
Right.
Because I'll go, but like, how deep do you want to go? Maybe we should have done like Q&A for this.
Yeah.
That would have probably been smart.
Next time. We'll do a Q&A for you guys soon.
Yeah, that actually would be a good thing. Let us know if you are new listener.
I feel like
a Q&A would
actually,
you guys would benefit from.
That's better because, you know, now you guys have a little bit of context. Hopefully that got your wheels turning and maybe you have more questions now that you've listened to this episode.
Right.
Yeah, so keep a lookout for our Instagrams. I'm alexcote.jpg.
I'm at Kristen McAtee.
And we'll post a little Q&A box for you guys to throw in some questions and see that coming soon.
Follow Oddvice's Instagram too. It's Oddvice Podcast. That's it.
Right. And like we mentioned earlier, we do have a Patreon. So follow us there. You get an extra episode every week on Fridays. And sometimes they have to do with Monday's topic. A lot of the times they're just a general advice column as well. So you guys can DM us directly on Patreon. Let us know what you're going through and we'll give you guys advice there.
We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And if you are listening, but if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, make sure you rate and review us and leave us 5 beautiful stars.
5 pretty shining stars.
Because we deserve them.
Okay, guys, have a great week.
Have a good rest of your week. And we'll talk to you next Monday.
Love you.
Bye.